Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I recently interviewed Mike and Nathaniel. They're the co-founders of Pickaxe, which is an AI tool that allows you to monetize your AI workflows. So it's like a GPT, but you can put it behind a paywall. And in this training, we talked about actions, which are kind of like function calls in GPTs. They're just a way to call external tools from within Pickaxe. So let's get started.
So I'll do a lightning round of what Pickaxe is, and then we'll turn it over to Nathaniel. So I'm going to share my screen. So hello, everyone. I don't know if we met last week or not, or 2 weeks ago, but hello again, and hello to the people that I have not met before. So this
Thanks
is
for coming
Pickaxe.
back.
Pickaxe is basically a very easy way the simplest way to create AI tools, chatbots and forms, share them with other people, control access, and then if you're into this sort of thing, sell them to people as tools. So we have lots of people who are building AI tools in the platform and selling them as standalone products or product suites to people. We also have plenty of people who are building tools and sharing them to like high touch, high value clients of theirs, which is probably more of what you all are doing, I would imagine, as fractional chief AI officers of companies. Um, so basically, this is a pickaxe right here. This is like an embedded pickaxe. They come in many forms, shapes, and sizes. Um, this is sort of the crown jewel of our product, just this two-panel builder, where you build a tool over here, pick the model you want, add documents, connect actions, which you'll see a lot of soon. You can test it over here. Um, and then you can kind of turn these into what we call studios. We were just looking at one as a team as we do our redesign a couple minutes ago that I'll share with you. That's kind of cool. Studios are basically these collections of tools. These are all tools that this person has made for their ambient innovation studio. So this is all built and hosted on Pickaxe. It's like a simple little website with a very cool graph that he made elsewhere. And essentially he lets people try it out. They can pay and get some uses. And if you go into this thing, it's just, a collection of all these different AI tools. These are forms. He's having you upload stuff, pick things. Some of these are probably chatbots, I'd imagine. Um, I don't know where they are exactly. And then he's also got these little like content pages to explain them. So that's kind of the speed run of what Pickaxe is. We made some tools together 2 weeks ago, I believe, but we did not get deep into connecting actions, which are basically ways to create a little prepackaged button with some instructions that your chatbot can press. And it doesn't have to know what the button does exactly, but the button then runs code. It's like, there are APIs to other websites. So it can create images, it can send emails, it can hit webhooks. We have a whole bunch that we've built ourselves. Um, and they range from super simple to set up to a little bit involved to set up. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to Nathaniel, CEO and Chief Workflow Designer, who knows all about this sort of stuff, and will guide you through some.
Hello, everybody. Good to meet all of you as well. Hopefully you can see the builder on my screen.
Yep.
Mike, can you give me a thumbs up if that's correct? The builder? Okay, cool. So as Mike mentioned, Pickaxe is great, and particularly for AI officers. I think one thing that we've seen, obviously, you can build a lot of internal tools for your organization very quickly. You can do a lot of amazing stuff by prompt engineering and by adding documentation. For example, if it's like a training application and you're trying to, for example, put in your employee handbook or what have you. But one of the biggest things that we've seen, which has almost been surprising to us, but in retrospect makes a lot of sense, is that you can use Pickaxe and the studios that Mike was showing you, those little compartmentalized web pages, as front ends for lots of different AI stuff that you've built in no code that people can consume from those chatbots chatbots and forms. And the way that you hook those things together is with actions. As Mike mentioned, I think the way that Mike likes to describe it, and that's the way that, I think it's a good way to describe it, is that these are like buttons that your tools can press to go and get something, go and reach out into the world and grab something. And they're a really great way to connect your tools to what's going on. And there's basically two main categories to break down into. One is it's trying to go and get information from somewhere, and another is it's trying to go and make something happen, or put information out there. And so I can just go over a couple of the ones that we've built. There are a lot of pre-built actions. And I'm sure that you guys have used the make webhook bit. And I will also talk a little bit about making your own actions. In my opinion, and I'm, I guess, a little bit technical, so I do have to warn us there, but to me, the make your own actions component of Pickaxe is actually probably the most amazing thing on any platform that I've seen. I mean, it's very cool and flexible. And so we'll talk a little bit about it and how it works. But so we can just talk through a couple of these most popular actions. And I think these are sorted by popularity here. So the most popular one by far is just Google search, which will go out and grab information via Google search to put it into your bot's responses. And then Fluxional is the second, which generates images. And we've got an awesome, PDF generator. This will generate a very basic PDF. And I have a video, which I'm sure we can share afterwards, that shows how to get really complicated PDFs, like specifically exactly what you want, in a repeatable fashion. And then another one would be to, send a summary email to either the person who's using it or the owner of the tool, so that after they've finished their conversation, you get a summary of like, oh, well, what happened in this conversation. One of the ones that I think you guys have talked about a lot, or at least have touched on, is this Make webhook. And obviously Make is a super powerful platform that allows you to create all kinds of complicated workflow automations. And very simply, this Make webhook, will allow you to say in plain English what you want it to do. So for example, let's say that we're making a sales tool that is going to sell socks to people. Well, we'll say, you sell socks, and we're just telling it that's prompt engineering for you. That's and we'll say, when the user expresses an interest in buying socks, trigger this webhook. Collect the user's name and address, and structure your response as a JSON. And I don't have the Make thing open right now, but I'll just, we would go into Make and we would grab the webhook link and just stick it right there. And we'll connect that. And now I'll say hello. And it'll say, oh, how can I assist today? I'll say, my feet are cold. What? It would be. Okay, so it knows to ask for my name, Nathaniel, and I live at 10 Spring.
Does it know that intuitively, or did you tell it somewhere?
That's a great question. I told it in the setup here to ask for a name and address.
I missed that, sorry.
Yeah. And now that I've given it my name and my address, let's see. Okay. If you see this black loading state, this means that it is it went and did it. Now I put in a fake link here. So it's telling me there's an issue, but if we had put in a real link, this would have gone to Make, it would have deposited that information there, which could start off the chain of events that you set up in Make. Now, there is a cool thing about Make as opposed to Zapier, where I believe you can set it up so that Make actually will return information back at the end to this. And if you did do that, this could display that information here. So for example, if you needed to confirm that a delivery had been placed, you could have it do that kind of full circle through Make. And I'll just briefly talk for maybe 3 more minutes about the building of your own actions. This is where it gets a little bit on the technical side, but it's exciting, I guess, if we think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's say I want to build my own action to do something. Maybe it's to connect with an automation that we don't have here, like it's to send email addresses to Salesforce, for example, or some other thing. We can go and build new action, and maybe we will do send email addresses to Salesforce. And I will say, what's the description? Sends customer email address to Salesforce. That's great. We won't put anything in here yet. This README is primarily for you to just remember, oh, how do I set this up? What are the different pieces? And we'll say the trigger prompt is whenever customer reveals their email, send it along with a summary, the conversation so far to Salesforce via this action. So we're setting that up. Now, here we've got our inputs. What are the inputs? Well, in this case, the customer's email, and this is actually, you could see the example values here, and we'll say user's email address. We'll give it an example. And then, as we mentioned, another thing we might want it to grab is a summary. So we'll say another input is a summary, and some convo so far. We'll say we talked about golf mostly, as an example. Now we won't worry about environment variables yet. We won't worry about additional packages. But the really cool thing is now, if we go over here, this is code. This is Python code. But what we've done and what Pickaxe we're trying to do, we're trying to make this easy to bridge the gap here, is this stuff all up here is all really well set up. So that if I just copy this and go over to ChatGPT and say, hey, here's this, complete this function for me, it will go ahead and give me this. I don't know. We'll have to see. But we'll copy this and put it in here, and this looks about right. So and it's leaving some blanks here. We can see we would need to go to the Salesforce documentation and figure this out. But for the most part, this has been written for us. So as we go forward, we're trying to make it so that this is going to really completely write it for you. But the really nice thing that we do is we write the beginning of it so that ChatGPT can continue easily, which it does. So that would be how you would go and build your own action if you were so inclined. One final thing I guess to say is that if you're using Pickaxe to connect things together, we have this awesome Pickaxe Experts program, and these are folks that have we've vetted them to we know that they're good at building this type of thing and have helped plenty of folks to build things out like this. And I think that's my. Yeah. Yeah.
I got a quick question. Is there a way to is there a way to grab the user's login information from from within the studio, so I don't have to ask them for their email address, for example?
That is a great question. And I think that there is. I think there is. It's an Easter egg feature.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
We're not telling that many people about it, but I think that there is. I will get back to you. And you can disseminate that. There are a couple of pieces of information that you can basically grab in the code that it doesn't tell you about here. And one of them is the user's email, which can be really useful. Though it is important to remember that you don't always have it. So only when they're logged in would you have it.
Right.
But yeah, happy to follow up with that.
Can you give us an example of how the 11 Labs one works? I mean, I'm sure you can't actually call it, but could you describe how that would work?
Yeah, a lot of people have found this to be, well, have made use of this. I don't actually think I have an API key. I would like to find, in fact, if you just give me one moment, maybe I can go to, let's see here. So one thing that we've seen a couple of people do, this one probably doesn't even have it connected, but we've seen folks tell bedtime stories, which is just one example that you can do. And you basically just put in your API key here, you put in your voice ID, and then you have it, the bot write a bedtime story, but instead of just sending it into the chat, it will just create a little audio file of the bedtime story being told, and then you can just play that. And I'm not exactly sure what they're using it for, but maybe they're actually playing it to their kids. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of folks want more voice, like where we're really talking back and forth with Pickaxe tools, which is coming. But in the meantime, the 11 Labs action is more for pre-creating these packaged voice recordings.
Yeah, I could see having some kind of voice widget would be cool for doing simulations or whatever. Say a job interview simulation, for example, would be kind of cool.
It's easy to get an API key out of 11 Labs too. It's right under settings. Just create your API key.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, in that example, it wouldn't be interactive though. It would just download an audio file that I imagine you could click on a play button and play it, right?
Yes, I'm not sure if it auto plays or not, but one way or another, yes.
Cool.
Yeah, and internally to Pickaxe, we use send summary to Slack to send messages to our Slack when certain people use bots that we have built where we want to get, somebody's having a problem that needs to be elevated to like a level of, actual person needs to be involved. The bot will choose to send a message to us, and then we can go and help that person. This one seems kind of basic, and it is, but it is useful for some folks. The models are just models. They live in a timeless, world. So just having something that can tell it what time it is a deceptively simple but useful action to connect. Yeah.
The website generator. So
The
could you
website generator.
Could you create a landing page with that or something? Does it display it in HTML?
I'm glad you asked. That's one of my favorites. Let's take a look at that one. Where is it? Random chooser. Let's see. This is another one that's kind of a sleeper. We're still thinking more about how we can get this out to more people and make this more useful. But if you say, make me a homepage for my gardening website. You know, I wrote garden. Well, you know, this is the most basic possible example you could possibly, you know, dream up here. Hopefully it will. There we go.
There it is.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So it generated a little preview here, and we've got a little arrow, and this is what it made us. Now, obviously, this is pretty basic, but in fact, what you can do, and you know, not that many people use it for this, but we're thinking more about this. Is like, okay, but that's too dark, and I want more sections, and it should try again. Well, now it's asking me a guiding question. Let's see. And so, you know, what this is doing under the hood is just generating HTML code and sending it back, which is useful for a lot of different applications. You know, it's not just about building a website. I mean, documents can be expressed in HTML as well. So, you know, and listens to my advice pretty good. Not that I would want to use this website for my business quite yet, but we're on the way. And it was as simple as just adding this. I'm glad you asked about it. This is one of the ones. What's really cool is when you start saying like, you know, okay, now make me a website where there's a Pong game running in shambles. No, it doesn't always do this. Most of the time, I would say this doesn't work. But as the models are getting better, you'll start to be able to ask for more and more complicated experiences to be delivered directly, you know, by AI through AI, which is fun.
And then if I wanted to get the code for that, I could just click on the little arrow and then grab the code from the page. That's cool.
Yeah, that's crazy. Not a very good Pong game. It immediately it ended, but at least for one round, it worked.
You got to tell it two paddles, man.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But yeah, you can just get the code from. It'll all be at this link, and you can download this as your HTML. I'll send you all this horrible Pong game just so that you can see how far AI has come.
That's cool that you can share the link.
Yeah.
Can you show us real quick the PDF generator as well? Like you said, you can get pretty fancy with it. I was curious about that.
Totally. Well, the way that, so, okay, sure. We'll do it in two steps. So the basic way is just to connect it. And then to say, you know, make me for some reason, I always like the idea of a happy birthday PDF. I don't think anybody would actually send anybody else a happy birthday PDF. It doesn't seem like it's a real thing, but it's funny to me. Whatever the AI thinks a happy birthday PDF is, apparently this. Okay, so this PDF sucks, right? I mean, it's okay. It's pretty basic. So the way I have a video on this, but the way to get it more detailed is just to go to ChatGPT and be like, you know, give me an HTML template for a PDF for an invoice, and it'll give you something. You know, invoices are much more important than happy birthday PDFs. business. And we'll let it go. And what we would do is we would, which I think we can do, we can actually clone this PDF generator action. And I'll go ahead and clone it. And now in my version of it, see I have PDF generator copy. I can edit it. And this is all the code that's in there. So there's not that much going on in there now. If I check back in on ChatGPT, it's given me this, this template. I'm just doing a speed run of this. So hopefully, stop me if anybody. So I just put it into this HTML renderer, which, you just Google that and it'll give you, and this is what it looks like. So maybe I think this looks okay. Yeah, seems good. I'm going to go ahead and put it into my code here. I'm going to say PDF template equals boom. And there's my PDF template. But now I'm going to say, well, actually, I kind of want to make it so that instead of just generating a PDF directly, I want it to fill in this invoice. So instead of saying, it'll be generated from HTML, I'm going to change this and say, instead of PDF HTML, I'll say like, customer name. And it'll be like the customer's name. And we will say John as the example value. And then we go back over here, and now we've got customer name. And wherever we have, here's the, we'll put the name here, customer name. We'll just replace it with our Mad Lib. Now, obviously, this is a little bit in the weeds. Not everybody's going to gravitate immediately to doing things here, but just for the sake of showing, for some reason it keeps giving me, that's perfect. Okay. Now customer name, and now I have my PDF file, PDF template, and PDF file, PDF HTML, perfect, PDF template, save it. So I've not tested this, and I have no idea whether it will work, but my name is Nathaniel. Generate me an invoice, please. I think I did actually connect it. This is still my old one. Remove that. Put in my new one. And yeah. I don't know. Let's see. That was pretty fast. See, it says there was an issue. So we would have to debug this a little bit more. I find I tried to do that a little bit too fast, but you can get a template from ChatGPT and stick it in here, and at a high level, that's how you get more specialized PDFs. Like if you want it to look exactly like this every time, as opposed to just generating it from scratch, we'd have to figure out what went wrong here.
I could think of a really good use case for this, and I mentioned it before on these calls. But so you're on a call with a client, and they want a proposal, and basically on the side you're talking to one of these bots and giving it information about the discussion or whatever the project is, and then before you even get off the call, you've got a proposal sent to them.
Yeah, and you can
see
all
formatted.
It did finally work. We've got our invoice in a PDF with my name in there, and exactly as you're saying, you would just maybe you've got a 20-page proposal template. You would break apart the different components of the proposal. You would just add them as inputs you would talk to the bot, and after maybe a solid, 30-minute conversation, you'd be like, all right, let's get that proposal or report, pull the trigger, and it will consolidate it into a document for you.
Is there a context limit for these? Is it just whatever the context limit of the model is?
Precisely, whatever the context
Okay.
limit of the model is. So for something like GPT-4o, you've got like a book to write before it's going to be struggling.
Yeah. So in that case, I could think of like if you even had, say you had a call transcript, you could dump a call transcript into this and then have it create a proposal from that.
Yes. In our experience, for some reason, call transcripts are exceptionally good. Like it is really able to get, like, because oftentimes call transcripts will be a little garbled, even though there's some new stuff that gets it right almost 100%. But it's really good at getting the sense of what was meant to be said, even if it's not exactly written properly.
I wonder if that has to do with how the transcript is labeled with the times, and then sometimes it even shows the person in there, so
Yes.
you know in the conversation who's saying what.
Yes. Well, as far as a demo, that was all that I had to demo, though I'd be happy to answer questions. Mike, I don't know if you have any things that I might have missed.
I do have a question.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi. And my apologies, I did show up late to the call, but what is, I just kind of need a little bit of the background. Is there a link for this tool and what is it called? I missed the first 25 minutes.
It's called
Perfect.
Pickaxe. I just threw a link there. So it is
Excellent.
a no-code platform to build AI tools, and you build them on LLMs, like models like OpenAI or OpenAI GPTs or Claude. And then we have a system to allow your chatbots to use other pieces of software called actions. And that's kind of what Nathaniel was demonstrating. We have pre-built ones. We have ones that are pre-built, but you can customize a lot, like make actions, and then you can also code your own. So all three categories.
And then you can
Excellent.
monetize them. You can
Okay,
monetize
yeah,
these.
that was going to be my follow-up question. So would you say you're somewhat comparable to like a Zoho creator, or who are you guys comparable to?
I don't know Zoho Creator, but
Okay.
one big one would be OpenAI has a GPT builder,
Mhm.
or pretty similar to that. We predate them, and their system looks very similar to ours. We think they actually copied parts of our thing because we know people that work there. But so it's very similar to that, but you can break out of the walled garden they have. You can share it with other people, white label it, add your brand, monetize it, monitor what people are doing, stuff like this. And then other tools that might be more familiar might be BotPress, which is like a little bit of a more old school chatbot maker. We're similar to that. FormWise is something a lot of people might use. And then Zapier has something called Zapier Interfaces, which is like a really, in my opinion, crappy little chatbot builder, because it's like supposed to be one of like 1,000 components in your thing. We're like a dedicated service all around building AI tools. You might have other comps, Nathaniel.
You have videos in here, right, that show how to do different things?
We do have a lot of videos, yeah, in the YouTube, and they're linked throughout the site as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have a YouTube channel, tons of videos. There's that community tab up there. That's yours truly. That's our 1 minute super pitch. So if you want to hear me pitch it again in 1 minute, you can watch that one. On the YouTube channel, there's deeper dives of Nathaniel and myself. There's a lot of good stuff. And then we also, the community forum with a lot of customers just discussing stuff, and they like to help each other.
I think OpenAI really kind of dropped the ball on the GPT store. Like, I was wondering, like, if the 12 days of the OpenAI 12 days thing, if tomorrow they were going to like open up the store. Like,
Well, I think it's important to always remember. I agree they missed a big opportunity, but their loss is our gain.
yeah,
Um, they kind of put this idea on the map a lot, so we're thankful to them. They have a big reach. It's important to remember what their mission is to make AGI, which is very different than letting people make tools to monetize AI and for their business and stuff. So they're going for a different sort of prize than everybody else. And what we're really trying to do is just help small businesses and folks like yourselves, this kind of new breed of AI forward consultants and coaches and knowledge workers to build tool sets to help them deliver services to companies and to their customers, this sort of stuff.
this tool is great. I've looked all over the place for a way to. I mean, I've played with a lot of chat bot builders, but it's really difficult to find one that allows you to gate the bot and to monetize it. And this is probably the easiest way that I've found, unless you want to build something that's your own, login, the whole login scenario.
That's a great point. I mean, we're at the not to exaggerate, be too hyperbolic, but we're at the precipice of a change in what the internet is for a lot of people. We've had static content for most of the internet, pages, blogs, videos, these sorts of things. And there's a big infrastructure in the internet around paywalling and gating those things. We now have AI, which is dynamic content, and you're going to see a lot of the internet move towards dynamic content, dynamic interfaces. There isn't really a good way to paywall this. There's these duct taped solutions you can make. You can sign up for, Wix and paywall things and add member pages and all sorts of stuff. But that's really kind of another focus of ours, which is chatbot monetization. Right now it's just paywalls, but we're thinking of a lot of interesting, clever ways to give you more opportunities to paywall your chatbot, accept payments inside of a chatbot, to do it on a usage-based system, an action-based system, a token-based system. Lots of cool stuff coming ahead.
Yeah, is there any of those things you can go into detail on that we might be interested in?
As far as upcoming features and that type of thing?
You take something in. Because I'm paying for a chatbot for my website. Plus, I wanted to learn and get the hang of it. And, there's just not a lot of flexibility to it. I'm pretty much locked into what they want to give me, what it can and can't do. I was curious if you guys were going to have some sort of a Pickaxe bot creation tool where we can customize it and monetize it. If we
Totally.
want.
Well, that's kind of that first screen we were in. So Nathaniel was mainly focused on building actions. But if you go to that, you don't have to connect a single action if you don't want to. If you just go to that prompt tab, you basically can customize your own ChatGPT, your own Claude, your own Mistral, right? You can give it minimal instructions, you can give it very many instructions, and you can upload documents to kind of teach it. So in your case, Steve, what does your chatbot do on your website?
It basically just answers questions. I've uploaded all my information about my scaling up business, about my chief AI officer business. It just answers questions based off of things.
And what do you not like about it?
The fact that I got to pay like $84 a month to use it. That's there. I can write my own, and I don't have to pay someone else. That's one thing I don't like about it. There's no way to really monetize it if I wanted to. Like, I have a prospective client now in Dubai that they want a customer service chatbot. So I'm like, if they hire me, I'm like going to be in the market to figure out how to get them an AI chatbot that they can use it, be able to load their own documents into. But, I can either sell it to them or I can just, use it as part of my CAIO services.
Yeah, well, it's definitely something you can do on Pickaxe pretty simply. If you want to pay $80 a month, we have an $80 a month plan. We also have a $29 a month plan, and we also have a free plan, which you can go pretty far on, honestly.
Yeah.
And you can build stuff here, and you can build stuff for other people, and then just give them the embed code. Once you finish building something in this builder, when you hit publish, you're in a screen that has a giant button that says deploy. You click it, and then you can embed it and get the embed code. It's pretty simple. The use
Cool.
case you're talking about, we actually have like a 8 or 9 minute video all about it called like how to create an FAQ chatbot, frequently asked questions chatbot, where I kind of go over how I create the chatbot we have on our own website,
Cool.
the doorman. But further into that, well, what service did you, who are you paying $80 a month to provide this thing to you?
Under chat.
Wonder Chat. And did you build it yourself in Wonder Chat, or did they just gave it to you and it like magically
They give
scanned
you
your
the
website?
format, they give you all that stuff, and you load in. It's very basic, very easy
Mhm.
for. It's low code, no code at its infinite stages. Basically you answer questions, you hit the settings, you load your own documents, so you can upload documents to it, so it like train it. And then you can have certain things like what questions you want to ask. Do you want to give any starter questions? Um, it's just a basic,
Mhm.
thing. But
And do you like the answers that it gives?
no, I'm not really in love with it. Is why I'm talking to
Okay.
you.
Gotcha. Well, I'm just getting every angle of the
Yeah,
site.
I mean, for me, I mean, it's functional. I mean, however, it's supposed to notify me if someone asks a question like 4 times wrong, and it doesn't. It's supposed to then go to live chat and automatically connect it to me, and it doesn't. So there's some things that it's supposed to do, it doesn't do. That would be nice.
Mhm. Well, you definitely give Pickaxe a try. We are not a dead, so there is like a whole category of tool, the customer service chatbot type tool. That is not us. It's not like our dedicated use case, but we certainly have many people on the platform building stuff in that category. We probably have a much simpler, better builder than that, than Wonder Chat, I would argue. We don't have a sort of elevate to live support agent somewhere around the world feature, but the beauty of our system is we give you flexibility. So if you would like to do such a thing, you could build an action to do such a thing. As Nathaniel said, you could write like a rule, like if they ask a question and you don't know, or if they use a swear word and get angry, run this action that emails me or sends me a message in Slack or these sorts of
That would be fine. I mean, that would be totally
things.
fine. It has a function where, in the chat, if it doesn't know the answer, I could set it up so it'll email me, and it says we've emailed, Steve Furman, he'll get back to you shortly, that kind of a thing. So it's got that
Yes.
limited there.
Yes, it's just a little bit more flexible, which sounds like that is exactly what you're after.
Yeah. All right, cool. I mean, I've got plenty of time over the holidays. Check it out. That's for sure.
Mhm.
I had a situation where I host my own instance of Flowwise, and I built a chatbot for somebody, for a client, and then wasn't even talked about when we were talking about the requirements. And then just recently, she came to me and said, "Hey, this has our proprietary framework in it, and we want to gate it." So like I'm up against this exact scenario where if I would have had that requirement up front, I could have just built this in Pickaxe.
Mhm.
But now I've got to figure out, am I going to migrate to Pickaxe, or am I going to try to build some login situation for her? But she's in the process now of finding somebody. I'm basically just giving her the embed code, and she's going to have some developer create some login system, or use it in some other platform where she can just
Mhm.
embed a page. But I wish I would have known this before, because I mean, if you guys are thinking about building chatbots for clients, that's one thing you might want to think about.
I'm
Yeah,
glad.
we increasingly have a lot of people doing that type of work on our platform. I don't know exactly what you call it, but yeah, client work with chatbots. And this redesign that we're going to push out in January will make that much easier. You will be able to, right now, you just have a giant list of all your pickaxes and you have studios. But next, you will have, or in January, you will have like these workspaces and you can invite collaborators, you can give people tools, share tools with people. We really see a lot of people doing that sort of thing and making a lot of money with that. I think people probably make more money doing that sort of thing than selling the chatbots as standalone products, which is what we originally were building for. We had a lot of visibility into that space because all those purchases were going through us. But I think we've realized that a lot of people, there's a huge market opportunity for people who have these clients who are paying them like, 4 or 5 figure sums to give them a couple AI services. One of them is a chatbot, so they need to build stuff and give it to them. So we're really trying to enable that type of behavior, which I don't exactly know what a chief AI officer is, but I imagine that's the sort of thing that they're doing a lot.
We're like happening people, man. That's who we are. We're big.
So are you gonna have a tool marketplace where we can create a tool and sell it in there?
Like sell it so that other people can buy it and then resell it, basically.
Yeah.
We will not have that in January. We've talked a lot about that. It's something we need to understand more how people want to do it in order for us to facilitate it. It's definitely on our mind though, and a lot of people ask for it.
What about the data? That, like, if you're building a chatbot for a customer, how is the data protected?
Totally.
Yeah, well, we can get into more like in more detail, but you know, in our privacy policy and our terms of service, it kind of goes through. But you know, the models each have their own data processing addendums. You know, so if you're using the API, for example, with OpenAI, they have a 30-day deletion guarantee on their end, which is great. And then from our end, you know, the data is encrypted at rest and in transit, and it's, you know, held in I guess industry best practice, you know, databases in the United States. So, you know, and we can get more into the, you know, data practices, but generally, you know, that's the short of it.